and dividing. So very similar to 2-1 where we're adding and subtracting, we're going to look at those inverse operations again. Okay, but this time we're doing multiplying and dividing. So what's the inverse of multiplying? Dividing. What's the inverse of dividing? Multiplying. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I have a problem here where I have -8 equals j over 3. All right, again, my goal is to get the variable by itself. Well, right now, the variable is being divided by 3. So, what's the inverse of dividing by 3? Multiplying by 3. So, I'm going to multiply each side by 3, and I can just go ahead and write it like this for this side. All right, because again, my goal is to get that j by itself. So, these 3 cancel, because they can cancel into each other one time. And my j falls down. And now I have 8 times 3 is 24. A negative and a positive equal a negative. And again, for homework, make sure you always put the j or the variable first when you're writing your answer. So j equals -24. Okay, let's try another one like that. I have n over 6 equals 2.8. Again, my goal is to get the variable by itself. So I'm dividing by 6 right here. Opposite of dividing by 6 would be to multiply by 6. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So also multiply by 6 there. 6 goes into 6 one time, so these actually cancel out. I now have my variable by itself, which is what I wanted. Okay. So now we go ahead and do 2.8 times 6 is going to be 16.8. All right, and again, you can always check these by putting them back into the problem. All right, let's try again, another one, because these ones can be kind of tricky. So we have p over 5 equals 10. All right, again, this is dividing by 5. The inverse of dividing is multiplying. So you're just going to multiply whatever the denominator is down here. But what you do to one side of the equation, you also have to do to the other side of the equation. So multiply by 5 there as well. These 5's cancel because they divide into each other one time. The variable comes down, which is what we wanted. And 10 times 5 is 50. So if you wanted to check, you could do 50 divided by 5. 5 goes into 50 10 times. And since I got the same answer as what the answer was told to me in the problem, I know I got the correct solution. All right, let's try one where we are multiplying now. I have 9y equals 108. So this is telling me that some number times y, or some number times 9s, will give me 108. So right now, these are being multiplied together. Whenever you see a number slapped up against a variable, that means it's multiplied. So the opposite of multiplying, or the inverse of multiplying, is to divide. So I'm going to divide by 9. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. The 9's here cancel, and I get y by itself, which is what I wanted. Okay, now if you don't know, the top number always goes inside the box. So we have 108 inside the box and the 9 on the outside. So 9 goes into 108 12 times. So y equals 12. And again, you could put that back into the formula and see if it checks out. All right, here we go. -4.8 equals -6v. All right, well, right now, the 6 and the v are being multiplied. When they're slapped together, that means multiplied. So the inverse of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by -6. What you do to one side, you need to do to the other. These 6's now cancel because 6 goes into 6 one time. We don't need to write the 1, we just cancel them. So I got my v by itself, and now I'm going to divide these. Remember, the 6 is on the outside, and the 4.8 goes on the inside. Well, 6 doesn't go into 4, so I'm going to bring up my decimal, but 6 does go into 48 8 times. So my answer is going to be 0.8. And then I look at my sign. A negative and a negative equal a positive. So my answer is 0.8. All right, we have 16 equals 4c. Now some of you might know this one already, but let's just see how it works. These are being multiplied right now. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide each side by 4. Okay, these 4's cancel. C falls down. 4 goes into 16. Remember, this is always going into this direction. 4 times. So C equals 4. All right, 15K equals 75. All right, some number times 15 gives me 75. Well, inverse of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide each side by 15. 15's cancel, the K falls down. 15 goes into 75. Remember, it's always going up into it 5 times. So K equals 5. All right, let's try one with a fraction. What if I had 5, 6, W equals negative 20? All right, well, the inverse operation of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 5, 6 and divide by 5, 6. All right, this whole thing cancels out and I get W. All right, but we can't really divide this. I'm going to go ahead and put this over 1. Remember, we take the reciprocal. So I'm going to do 20 over 1, change my sign, and take the reciprocal. Okay? Now, is there anything I can cross cancel or cross reduce? I can't do anything with the 6 and the 1, but I can with the 5 and the 20. So 5 goes into 20 4 times. So I'm left with negative 4 times 6 gives me negative 24. 1 times 1 gives me 1. So my final answer is W equals negative 24. And again, plug that back in and see if it works out. Let me do one more with the fraction just so you can see it. All right, I have 3/16 equals 1/8 Z. All right, the inverse of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide by 1/8. Divide by 1/8. All right, these cancel, and I'm left with Z. And again, I'm going to keep my first fraction. This is actually my first, even though I wrote it backwards. So I can rewrite this if it looks hard to see what I'm talking about. Okay, that's how I should have written it if I had more room. So I'm going to keep the first fraction of 3/16. I'm going to change my sign from a division to a multiplication. And I'm going to take the reciprocal of 1/8 and make it 8/1. Remember, reciprocal means to flip it around. Can I cross cancel or cross reduce? Well, I can't do anything with the 3 and the 1, but I can with the 8 and 16. 8 goes into 16 2 times. This is a 1 left up on top. So what do I have on top? I have 3 times 1 gives me 3. 2 times 1 gives me 2. All right, so Z equals 3/2. Or 1 and 1/2 would be fine there too. All right, well, I hope this helps you with your homework.